good morning, good afternoon, or good night from whenever and wherever you are watching us. I am Cameron Scandal, and that is Steven Schreffler. We are back, baby.
The return.
We are the sound. We thank you so much for being here with us today. We are happy to have you. We're happy to finally be back. Steve, it has been months since the two of us have been on here together. I mean, it's been quite some time. I'm sure we are excited, but I'm sure the people are also excited for our return as well.
It's good to be back. You know, we had a little bit of a hiatus, had to figure some things out with our schedules, but we always knew that the people needed us to come back. Sports world has been in shambles. Lots of things need explaining. The sound is back. The sound is returned.
We're officially here. We're excited to get going. We got a good one for you today. Let's take a look quick at today's rundown. What we got going first, we are going to ask who has the most to gain or lose from the outcome of these conference finals. What player do we think? We're then going to go with everyone's favorite game show, Who Is That? And we're going to conclude the show by talking JJ Reddick, the potential frontrunner for the Lakers head coaching job. What's kind of going on there? We'll talk all about it. So, folks, without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off, our first subject, the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals already taking place as of this recording today. Both game ones have been decided. And the question Steve and I asked ourselves yesterday in our pre-show meeting is what players have the most to lose or gain from the outcome of these conference finals? I think Luka Doncic has the most to gain. So first of all, he's been in the league 6 years. He's been in the playoffs 4 times, been in the conference finals now twice in those 4 runs. In his career right now, averaging 31, 9, and 9 in the playoffs. Pretty good stuff, right? The things I'm about to say to you are all within the context of the first 6 years of careers, right?
Okay.
To reach multiple conference finals with no all-stars. Here's the list. Luka, LeBron, Jason Kidd, Hakeem Olajuwon. That's the complete list. To reach the conference finals averaging at least 30 points a game. Multiple conference finals averaging 30 points a game. Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Wilt. No player in NBA history has averaged at least 28, 8, and 8 through their first 4 playoff runs. Only player in NBA history to do that. And only LeBron and Allen Iverson have made the finals in their first 6 years with no other all-stars and averaging at least 28 a game. So Luka is about to enter a very select and posh group of NBA players.
That's a list.
And I say all that to say this. If he loses, I don't think it really matters in terms of we don't look at him much different. I don't think at this point in his career anyone's expecting a finals run. He's actually only had 1 playoff series where he has been at home.
Oh, wow.
So he's been a lower seed in every series but 1. So It's not like we're already expecting, championships out of Luka Doncic. But if he does make the finals, everything changes immediately.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because Luka is actually my pick as well for the most to gain. The one thing that I've always come back to is, can he get over the hump? This is his second time being to the to the Western Conference Finals. We know the stats. The stats are not the question. We know that Luka's a walking triple-double. Everyone on planet Earth knows that when Luka Doncic steps on a basketball court, flip a coin and he's probably going to hit, a triple-double. Luka, for him this year, the reason I think he has the most to gain is to validate what everybody has been saying about him. We all know that he's a prodigy. We all know that what his ceiling is. But until he starts actually winning and getting to finals and actually taking that next step and getting his team there, it's just stats.
And here's something to go along with that has Luka in a different position than everybody else right now. We give Anthony Edwards all the credit for where the Timberwolves are at right now, and that's true. But I think no one expected him to get to this place. So it's not like we're saying it's Anthony Edwards versus Luka. It's like it's the Timberwolves as a whole. Anthony Edwards has been the driving force. The Pacers, same thing. It's not like we're just saying it's Tyrese Halliburton. It's the Pacers have gotten here. Even the Celtics, with Jason Tatum. They're so good as a unit with so much talent. It's the Celtics have gotten here.
Correct.
It feels like it's Luka versus the Timberwolves. Like, I know Kyrie is there and he's having an excellent season in postseason, but it doesn't have that. I'm not saying he's a footnote, but you almost kind of forget that he's a part of it. Like, it just feels like this is all about Luka right now and what next step he can take to just keep adding to his already impressive resume here in six short years. We agree that Luka has the most to gain. And I believe we also agree that Jason Tatum has the most to lose in these conference finals. Sort of like the Nuggets, this Boston team from day one was like, they're making the finals. Everyone and their mother was set like Boston and Denver NBA finals. When the playoffs started, we had some questions about the West, but it was like Boston has to come out of the East. So you already had these heavy expectations of championship or bust. And with how loaded the Celtics have been in the Tatum era in terms of talent, head coaching, not always run excellently, but have the right pieces in place to make these deep runs. If he falls up short against the Pacers, like, what are we talking about? Correct. This is arguably, if not the best team he's been a part of in his whole tenure there. And they have dominated teams in a historic fashion, literally, this regular season with their point differential. And it almost feels like if they lose, like, even now when they're winning, it doesn't feel like it's on the back of Jason Tatum, like we're saying with Luka. It's a collective effort. And we're not saying that Tatum hasn't been good.
Correct.
And you and I have had the discussion before about, is Jaylen Brown, the real Batman into Tatum's Robin? Now, that's not kind of where we're at now, but the conversation has been there. And if Boston loses this season, do we expect them to quickly bounce back to what they were already? What's Milwaukee going to look like when Giannis is healthy and if Dame decides to run it back? Jimmy was hurt this whole season. What's a good Miami team going to look like who's had their number for years? Are the Sixers going to make moves, and can we get a fully healthy season from Embiid? So it's not like Boston will be in the same position next season. He's also the only one right now who's been to a finals left in these playoffs.
Yep.
So there's just so much on him that if he loses, it would feel like what just happened? Like, what are you doing?
I'm going to dive a little deeper into Jason Tatum here for you. I found some stats going back to is Jason Tatum or is Jaylen Brown, who's the Batman when the team needs a Batman? So Jason Tatum this season has been really good. He's 5-7 in his career in must-win elimination games. So that's either, they win and they move on, or they lose and they go home. So let's take a little deeper dive into Jason Tatum's fourth quarter stats in his playoff career. Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter just this season, let's look at just this season right now. He's 4-2-1. That's his playoff line. So 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist.
I was about to ask if this is only the playoffs.
In the fourth quarter, just for the playoffs this season. Let's look at his career, okay? He's 5-1-1 in 103 playoff games in his career. Jaylen Brown is 4.9, 2-1 in the same amount of playoff games in his career. So is Jason Tatum just not asking for the ball? Is he not dominating the ball? Is he not taking the ball when his team needs him and putting them on his back? Well, clearly it shows that Jaylen Brown is doing just as much in the fourth quarter as Jason Tatum does in their careers. What does that mean for Jason Tatum all time? Where does that rank him points per game in the fourth quarter? Behind Russell Westbrook and CJ McCollum. Both of them average more points in the fourth quarter in the playoffs than Jason Tatum does. You and me have talked a lot about the potential of a rift between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in previous playoff losses when the Celtics have needed Jason Tatum to step up. And it feels like Jaylen Brown has been kind of the Chris Middleton to the Giannis in previous playoff series that you and me have talked about. The Celtics have dumped piles of money into this roster to develop a roster where the Celtics are the obvious. I think you and me both picked it was either going to be them or Milwaukee at the beginning of the season to make it out of the East this year. When are we going to start looking at Jason Tatum and saying, are you that guy? Just going to a few seasons ago where he had 14 points in a game 7 to close out. And then a couple seasons prior to that, he had 13 points in a game 7 to close out and lose. So you're right. I think he has the most to lose because everyone's starting to ask the question of, are you going to take that next step?
And it's funny because Jason Tatum was like on the short list of like young guys who were going to win an MVP sooner than later. Like, who's going to win the MVP next, right?
He's slowly falling on that list.
Jason Tatum loses this round. If they don't make the finals, or even, well, I shouldn't say that, but if they lose in the conference finals this season, he can't be a top 6 guy.
Especially to the Pacers. They have nothing to lose.
Right.
Nobody expected the Pacers to be in this position.
And Boston,
losing to this team would not be good. It would not be a good look for him.
And they've been so far ahead of everybody all season, especially in the East. Like I said, they've had the finals on lock since the season tip-off, it seems like.
And if it wasn't for the Pacers blowing that lead in game 1 in the last minute of the game there, and Jaylen Brown hitting an incredible corner 3 to tie the game, not Jason Tatum hitting a shot to tie the game. Like, it just all goes back to who's really the guy for them.
And like I said before about like the other teams that are going to be Eastern contenders, I mean, if any of those teams were in proper form right now, I think everyone would pick them to beat. Like, I don't think Boston has been looked at as legitimate world beaters. It's just been, well, who else is going to make it?
Exactly.
Maybe an Embiid situation where he can be so good but only get you so far. It takes a special kind of player to make that.
That's a great
extra
comparison.
push.
I never thought about that. You're spitting right now. That's a great comparison.
Embiid is now the standard of MVP caliber players who can only get you so far. I think that is the new
Tony Romo of the NFL.
New style of player.
The Tony Romo.
Those are our thoughts on who we think is going to lose and gain the most from these conference finals. How do we do? What do you think of our answers? Did we get it right? Are we idiots? You tell us. Let us know what questions you want us to answer and if we can expand on things like this in the future. But hope you enjoyed this. It is now time for everyone's favorite game show. Who is that? Who is that is the game where Steve and I give each other clues to try and guess the player we are thinking of. You have 5 clues max to get the player. We used to keep score. We decided that it just seemed it's hard to keep track. It's just not.
Well, after I got a 12, that really didn't help.
Well, not even that. It's just it just seemed silly, useless. Yeah. We're just playing for fun. It's for the entertainment of ourselves and you, the wonderful audience.
Correct.
So, Steve has so kindly volunteered to give the clues today. I am honored to be guessing for the first time in a long time. So, Steve, are you ready to play? Who is that?
All right.
So,
clue number 1.
Yes.
My career stats are 19, 8, and 4.
Yeah.
I have made 6 All-Star teams and 5 All-NBA teams, but I've never made a first team. I have 3 top 10 MVP finishes, with one of them being a top 5. Who is that?
This is a forward or a center of some kind. How many All-NBA teams?
5.
How many first teams? None.
No, none.
So they weren't doing a whole lot, but they weren't doing nothing. They were probably the second. If they were either the best player on a really bad team or the second best player on a somewhat decent team, I really doubt that's going to be a third. I'm going to take a huge. No, I almost feel bad taking that guess. 19, 8, and 4. It's going to be someone random. I don't think there's no way he has that many All-NBAs. Who is someone who would have been? Zach Randolph.
That's a great guess, but that's not who this is.
All right.
Clue number 2. I have no championship rings in professional or college, but I did win the trophy named after another great big.
Well, it obviously can't be the Finals MVP for Bill Russell.
Correct. So what's the other trophy named after another great big man?
Are we counting the new names? Like, isn't the Defensive Player of the Year named after Hakeem?
We're counting all of the names.
Okay, so we are including new names. Which one of them is named after? Was Kareem the Rookie of the Year?
No, Wilt Chamberlain is the Rookie of the Year trophy.
Okay, I see. I was on the right path.
You were. You're getting there.
19, 8, and 6, 5. Rookie of the 19-8-4, 19-8-4, Rookie of the Year. No first teams, no championships. Has to be a big. There is absolutely no other universe where this is not a forward of some kind. I don't think he scored that much. I'm gonna take another shot in the dark. Is it Mutombo?
No.
I didn't think so. It's a bad guess.
Clue number 3. I played in the Midwest while in college. Then took my high-flying acrobatics to the West Coast with the very first pick of the NBA draft.
Chris Webber?
No. That's another great guess, though. Clue number 4. When the Clippers drafted me, they made a great choice, but I didn't stay there my whole career.
It's Blake Griffin.
Yep.
It's fucking Blake Griffin. I was on the right path with Zach Randolph and with Chris Webber. Yeah.
That's why I said those are both, because if I'm comparing who they're like, bang. Like, the last clue would have been, I made my last appearance in green while wearing a mustache.
Yeah. Blake Griffin, dude.
Blake Griffin.
I was thinking you were gonna go more obscure, so I wasn't thinking. I was thinking too far back. I should have been.
As you started noodling it through in your head, you were saying all the right things.
Yeah,
you were
I know.
like, oh, well, it's definitely a forward. And then you were like, so he was either the best player on a really bad team or the second best player. And I was like, oh, he's gonna.
He's done both of those things. Actually,
I know, and that's why I was like, oh, he's gonna get this on the first shot. I thought that was pretty fun.
That was good. I hope you guys enjoyed. Did you get it? Did you get Steve's clues? Hopefully you guys were smarter than me and got it before me. I felt bad about them with Dumbo guess. Let us know how you thought of the clues, how you thought of the person, and see you next time on Who Is That? Moving on to our third and final topic of the day. Lakers head coaching job is vacant. There are a lot of potential suitors and people who would make a good fit. And then there's the person who the Lakers are considering, which is JJ Reddick. JJ Reddick is a fine basketball player. I like him as an analyst. I don't know him personally. Maybe someday. I'm sure he's a fine dude. But this is ridiculous. This is the Lakers not making any real moves, which has been their thing since LeBron has gotten there. Yeah. So let's say JJ Reddick takes this position, okay? So first of all, you have to make a deep playoff run with LeBron or your season is a failure. LeBron is still in a position, skill-wise, where you can somewhat contend, maybe. Maybe. You have to make conference finals at least to have a successful season. Then you are stepping in for the already 3 failures of sorts in the Lakers head coaching. Frank Vogel and Darvin Ham and Luke Walton. You have to know you're getting the blame. LeBron is always going to get a portion of it because he's LeBron, but like I just said, coaches have been getting a lot of the other stuff from the Lakers in this LeBron era. And speaking of LeBron, because of their podcast and their friendship and the notion that LeBron wants him in this position, you're going to be attached to him. Anything he or LeBron says that can be misconstrued or taken as, part of something else the other said, it's going to be connected whether it's really there or not because you have that LeBron established relationship. With all that extra stuff, what kind of control are you going to have over players who, in the back of their mind, maybe think you're there for a certain reason or thinking about the LeBron stuff or thinking about how you have no other prior coaching experience? Like, how is that going to come off? To me, Steve, this is nothing than the Lakers looking for what is the internet talking about? Like, what are people saying should be a good fit? They're not actually thinking about these decisions.
Here's where I have such an issue with this potential hire. You look at guys in the past who have come in with no coaching experience and gone right into a head coaching position, guys like Steve Nash, guys like Jason Kidd, who just get kind of thwarted, thrown to the wolves with both of them expecting to do big things with the teams that they had. You have somebody you're bringing in who, they might have a great knowledge of the game. They're a good analyst, but you have no coaching experience. You have no assistant coach. You have no NBA coaching experience, period, whether you're a head coach or not. You're coming in to coach two aging superstars. You're coming in to coach a team who needs coached, not needs a coach. The Lakers have been finding lots of coaches, but they have not been finding coaches who can coach. You have guys out there right now like Mark Jackson, who in my opinion is a proven NBA coach, not a proven championship caliber coach, but a proven, but he's a well enough respected name in the coaching industry that he would be a good, kind of like a Stan Van Gundy, to come in and just bridge the gap and hold you to do well enough and still provide coaching in pivotal moments. You have guys like Mark D'Antoni, who has been proven to be able to go into the playoffs at least and get to the conference finals, at least the second round, who has been a somewhat proven NBA coach. So in my opinion, there are names out there that make a lot more sense to go after, even good assistant coaching names out there that are currently on good teams that deserve a shot, rather than going for a TV analyst who has no coaching experience and a team that needs to be coached, not needs a coach.
You always think that former players are going to be good coaches because they're players they know the game, they've played at the highest level. Steve Kerr, Mark Jackson, even like Pat Riley or Jason Kidd or Steve Nash, they're all point guards. They're all floor generals. They're all people that already ran an offense and ran a team to begin with. JJ Reddick, not saying he wasn't a good leader or teammate, but he wasn't that kind of player, so he doesn't even have that already established kind of mindset within the game.
Well, and let me ask you this last point here. If Bronny goes somewhere else, LeBron doesn't have to stay at the Lakers, so you're potentially hiring a coach to coach the post-LeBron era of the Lakers, which historically has not gone well for teams when LeBron leaves.
And this is also true, but I will just say to that point with Bronny, LeBron has said that he is not married to the idea of he's not going to go wherever Bronny goes just because.
Correct, but even so, let's say LeBron stays in LA. Can't imagine he has more than one, two, maybe 3 years left in him.
We thought that 2 years ago.
Correct. But I am imagining the idea of LeBron playing much past 40 is not really on his radar, knowing all of the other goals that he's already stated that he wants to achieve, where ownership, being able to watch LeBron, Bronny's career, having Bryce coming up, he's starting to want to be more of a father role than he is a player role. So I'm just thinking forward, the Lakers are potentially hiring the post-LeBron era coach. And why would you want to bring in a guy that doesn't have the experience, knowing what happened to teams when LeBron leaves them?
It doesn't seem like the best decision, but like I said, the reports are that is the front runner. But I mean, I guess we'll see. Maybe JJ Reddick will come out and win a championship, and we'll look like fools. But I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. That's gonna do it for us today, folks. That wraps it up. It was a great time to come back. We hope you enjoyed listening and watching. Hope you appreciate that we are still here for you to provide you with the sports information that you deserve. And folks, always remember. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Before I get into this, I want to make one quick announcement. Actually, this is also an announcement for you, Steve. There will be no show next Friday.
Okay.
Because I will be in a golf tournament and I'm not going to be here with my stuff, so can't do it. Unfortunate circumstances. So next Friday, there will not be a show. Always remember, folks. Always remember, if you are in need of intelligent and cogent sports analysis, just listen to the sound. We will always have you covered. Thank you so much for joining us here today, folks. We hope you had a great time watching and listening. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Stay safe. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.